Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here to break down the NASCAR Truck Series race at Dover Speedway on Friday. This is the first race of the weekend. There's 5 races this weekend, so be on the lookout. I'm making 5 NASCAR videos this weekend along with NBA videos every single day, so be on the lookout for all those that are coming up. If you're new here, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, turn on the notification bell. Been getting a lot of traffic through NASCAR recently, especially for the Truck and Xfinity Series and the Truck Series video, so hope you guys are enjoying all of that content. If you want more of my content, you should subscribe to my Patreon. For only $10 a month, this is for all 3, the NASCAR, Xfinity, and Cup Series combined, or the Cup Series, Xfinity, and Truck Series combined, all 3 of them. You're going to get a cheat sheet with all the stats you need to know, projections, an article for every single race, salary tier rankings for every single race, a cash core for every single race. For all 3 of them combined, only $10 a month. So you should, or all 3 series combined, only $10 a month. So you should really check that out. And I also have stuff for NBA, which is basically the same thing. So, yeah, make sure to go check all of that stuff out. I will put that in the description below. If you want to follow me on social media, you should follow me on Twitter. It's at DFSNateLane, and my Instagram is at @NateLane_. I like to talk a lot about sports. Always tell you when my content's out. So yeah, go over there. I'll put the description below as well. And stick around for the channel. I mean, if you're into more sports other than NASCAR, I mean, I do NBA content. NFL is starting up in a few weeks. NCAA football and SEC schedule came out, so that's happening. I'll be doing content for that. Hopefully, college basketball happens. So I'll be doing all content for all that stuff. So make sure to stick around because all this stuff's going to be going live soon. It's about to get really crazy with all the sports. I mean, it is kind of already, but man, when NFL starts, it's going to be fun. So yeah, be sure to stick around for that. But I think I can get into the driver-by-driver breakdown now. So Austin Hill starts third. He's the most expensive driver on the slate at $11,200. And I'm not too interested in him. I'm really not too interested in much of the pay-up spots this week. I think this is more of a race where we're going to go more balanced. Austin Hill, I mean, he's good. He's been really good all year. He does have the 3rd best average finish at Dover, but only the 15th best at short tracks and the 12th best at steep tracks. So, yeah, he's done well at Dover, but overall at other tracks similar, he has not done as great. He does have the 2nd best average position at Dover, but only the 12th best at short tracks and the 10th best at steep tracks. So that does worry me. When we go into in recent form in the last 5 races, he does have an average finish of 6 and average run position at 8.4 and 95 laps sled, which is the 2nd most in the field. So I do like that. I think he has potential to lead a bunch of laps here, but he just wouldn't be my favorite choice to lead the most laps this track. I do think he is a solid option and a good pay-up spot. And if there is any of these top 3 pay-up spots I'm going to get to, or really top 4, that's the one I go to. Parker Kligerman starts 13th, and for $10,900, he just doesn't start far enough back for me. I've been fine playing Parker Kligerman recently, but he's just, paying up for him when he starts in the back, but starting 13th isn't good. I mean, he only has 1 race here. It hasn't been well, but at the short tracks, he's the 16th best average finish and 18th best at steep tracks, 13th best average position at short tracks, 12th best at steep tracks. Like, for him to pay out that salary, I'm going to need him to get up a lot of spots and probably lead some laps, so I just don't like him that much. Johnny Sauter, man, I mean, he's still priced up 10,600. He starts 15th, and Sauter's been great at short tracks and great at Dover over his entire career. At best average finish at Dover, 3rd best average finish at short tracks, 2nd best at steep tracks, best average position at Dover, 2nd best at short tracks, 6th best at steep tracks. But Johnny Sauter's been bad this year, like bad. Average finish is 15.5 in the last 5, average running position of 14.5 in the last 5, and only 18 laps led. I don't want to go to Johnny Sauter today, or tomorrow, I guess, but he just hasn't run well. Like, I mean, I know all the stats add up for him. He's looked really good at these type of tracks, but this year has just not been it for him. He's in a spot now where the only way he gets into the playoffs, Johnny Sauter, the only way he gets into the playoffs is a win. And I mean, I guess if there's a track he's going to win at, yeah, this is probably the one, but I just don't want to bank on it just on how bad he's been running this year. I'd rather just pay down a little bit for like a Brett Moffatt or a Christian Ekka than to pay for Johnny Sauter starting 15th. I think he's going to finish around there. Maybe he'll get a top 10. But like, I just don't see any way that Johnny Sauter really wins this race. His truck has not been fast this year. He just has not been good. So I don't want to go to Johnny Sauter this week. But now we got Matt Crafton starting 4th. Crafton's been on the upswing recently. He's been running. He started the season out kind of rough, but recently he's been running really well. He does have the 2nd best average finish at Dover, 6th best at short tracks, 3rd best at steep tracks. He has the 2nd best average position at Dover, 5th best at short tracks, 8th best at steep tracks. But when we come to laps led for Matt Crafton, it's not good. He only has 28 laps led at short tracks over the last 2 years and 18 laps led at steep tracks. So if you're playing Matt Crafton, you kind of want to lead laps. I just don't feel like he's more than likely to lead a bunch of laps here. I think there's more options that have a better chance to lead laps than Matt Crafton. So it may not be necessarily someone I really want to go to, but In the last 5 races, he does have an average finish of 2.75, an average running position of 9.2, and 27 laps led. So he has been running pretty well. He does have a win in those last 5 as well at Kansas. So he has been running pretty well. I just don't think he has the lap led upside as someone like Brett Moffatt does. Brett Moffatt is definitely my favorite, I guess, pay up spot today on the slate. He starts on the pole. He ran really well at the Daytona Road Course last week. He didn't win it, but he led a bunch of laps, finished second place. He has the third best average finish at Dover, the second best average finish at short tracks, the fifth best average finish at steep tracks. He has the sixth best average position at Dover, third best at short tracks, and second best at steep tracks. But when we come to laps led in the last 2 years, he has the second most laps led at Dover at 81. That's behind Sauter, and he has 321 laps led at short tracks and 265 laps led at steep tracks. It's so much better than like everyone else outside of Sauter that I love him here. I mean, he's another driver who hasn't won a race yet this year, but recently he's been running better. He does have the average finish is 10.2 in the last 5 races, but he has an average position of 7.4 and 85 laps led, so maybe the finishes aren't landing it for him, but he's been running really well. He's had a fast truck recently, so I think Brett Moffatt does look like a very solid option here. Starting on the pole, I think he gets out to the lead early. Maybe Sheldon Creed does, but I think I like Moffatt better here at this track. We'll get into Creed in a little bit. So I think Moffatt ends up being a very solid play today. Christian Ekka is at 9,700 starting 9th. I mean, this is a guy every video I'm like, oh, he's gonna get a win soon. He's gonna win soon, and he is. He's got a win coming. I said that for Zane Smith the last time we made a Truck Series video, and he won. So, and Ekkas finished second. So, and they were battling for the win in the last 2 laps. So, I think Ekkas does have a win coming for him, but I don't know if it's today. He hasn't raced at Dover in the Truck Series. He's the 8th best average finish at short tracks, 9th best average finish at steep tracks. He has the 8th best average position at short tracks and the 3rd best at steep tracks. He only has 6 laps led at short tracks in his short career and 57 at steep tracks. So it's just not really too great. In the last 5 races, he has been running really well with an average finish of 5, which is the second best in the field, an average running position of 7.2, and 69 laps led. So yeah, Christian Ekkas has been running pretty well recently, but I don't think this is the track where he gets it done. He seems to be a lot better at the bigger 1.5 mile tracks than the short tracks. And I could be wrong. This will probably be the race that Ekkas dominates one race. I don't actually play him, and he goes off. But it's just not someone I'm really too excited about. Stuart Freezing starts 11th at 9,500. Freezing's been another driver's had a rough 2020. The truck has not been fast. I don't think they switched teams, but they switched manufacturers or something like that this year, and it just hasn't been well for him. But this hasn't really been a good track for Freezing anyway. Only the 12th best average finish at Dover, 7th best average finish at short tracks, 11th best at steep tracks, 11th best average position at Dover, 7th best at short, and 9th at steep. He has 116 laps led at short tracks and 68 steep tracks with 0 at Dover. But, I mean, really the thing for Freezing is in the last 5 races, he's an average finish of 17.66 and average position of 20. That scares me. I don't really like that as much. He just hasn't been fast this year. I just don't want to pay for him, especially when I just paid $200 less for Chandler Smith. And I know there's been a few videos now where I've been like, oh, Chandler Smith, you got to play him, and he sucked, and he's wrecked, or it's just not been good. And yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, it's just, but this is the time. This is a race where he finally puts it all together. I don't know if he's going to win, but he's going to have a good race. Before this year, Chandler Smith had run in a Truck Series limited. I mean, he's still limited, but he was only allowed to run short tracks because he wasn't old enough to do the bigger 1.5 miles. But now he is. So he was running the bigger tracks for like the first time. So there was a reason for why he wasn't doing well. But now we're going back to a short and steep track where Chandler Smith has had a ton of success. And he starts 23rd, by the way. Oh, and I forgot to mention, he's in a 51 truck. Kyle Busch Motorsports just like the best truck in the field. Outside him and Ekkas are the best trucks in the field for the same team. So yeah, he's in a very fast truck. He has the best average finish at short tracks and the best average finish at steep tracks. He has the best average position at short tracks and the best average position at steep tracks. So yeah, I know in the last 5 races he hasn't run well. Only an average finish of 22 and an average position of 19. But he has run very, very well at these tracks in the past. And I'm not like, usually when you're seeing drivers who haven't run well, it's it's a lot of it has to do with the truck, and I know his truck's fast. I don't have anything to worry about that, and I know he's been good at these types of tracks. I mean, he runs limited schedule, and he's 56 laps led at short track at Bristol last year. So, yeah, I think Chandler Smith's a great option here. I want to pay for him. That's someone I definitely want to go to. I definitely like him and Moffatt the most up here at the top, and then maybe Ekkas a little bit, but I mean, that's really it. Just these top-end drivers just don't stand out to me this week. Sheldon Creed starts second at 9,100. He has one race at Dover, did not go well. He had mechanical issues, I believe. He had a 13th best average finish at short tracks, doing a 13th best at steep tracks. Did have a second best average running position at Dover though. 9th best at short tracks, 7th best at steep tracks, and he has 59 laps led at Dover, 75 at short tracks, and 68 at steep tracks. So he did run well in that one Dover race, just didn't finish well. In the last 5 races, Sheldon Creed has an average finish of 12.75, an average position of 8, and 46 laps led, and he is coming off a win at Daytona Road Course last week. But I just don't think this is a track where he gets it done. And I mean, starting second, you need him to lead laps. And I feel like, in my opinion, I think Moffatt gets out slowly. I think Moffat's a better driver here. So I think Moffat's the guy. But I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think it's horrible taking a shot on Sheldon Creed here. But I prefer Moffatt. Todd Gilman starts 17th, 8,900. This one might be a solid option. Someone that probably not a lot of people are going to play, because usually in a truck, and I mean really just NASCAR, people go stars, and scrubs is usually the way to go. So these like 8K drivers don't ever get picked as much. But I think Gillen has some upside at starting 17th. He has the 10th best average finish at Dover, the 10th best average finish at short tracks, the 8th best at steep tracks, 8th best average position at Dover, 10th best at short tracks, 11th best at steep tracks. So I mean, like, he's gonna have a good run, a good top 10 car probably, or truck. But is he really gonna get up inside that top 5? That's just what I mean. That would hit the upside. But I mean, it's Todd Gillen. He does have the upside. Average finish in the last 5, 11.25, and average position at 9.6, and 18 laps led. So I mean, he's run pretty well. It's just, I mean, he's riskier, but I think he does have the upside, and he's going to be lower owned than most of these other drivers. Ben Rhodes starts 10th, 8,700. He has the 7th best average finish at Dover, 5th best at short tracks, 10th best at steep tracks, the 5th best average position at Dover, 4th best at short tracks, 4th best at steep tracks. And when it comes to laps led, he has 194 laps led at short tracks, which is very good for Ben Rhodes. I think Ben Rhodes is another sneaky play that not a lot of people are going to get to. He has the upside to do really well. And he's been running pretty well in the last 5 races, an average finish of 6.8, an average position of 9.5, only 11 laps led. So I mean, I wouldn't count him as a lap leader, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Ben Rhodes finish like in the top 4. And if a lot of these other drivers bust, he could end up being just the highest score you need. Zane Smith at 8,500. I don't think this is the race to go with Zane Smith. He hasn't. I mean, I have no data. He's never ran at Dover in the truck series, but in a short track, I believe he crashed out. He does have the 4th best average finish at steep tracks though, but only the 15th best average position at steep tracks. He's been running really well. Zane Smith is definitely an up and coming, good driver in NASCAR for sure. Like, he's gonna have a long career. But I don't think this is a race to go to him. Starting 7th, I just don't think he gets out front and leads a bunch of laps. I don't think this is the type of track that suits him. I could be wrong, and maybe Zane Smith goes out there and dominates, but I just don't think this is the race for him. Grant Enfinger, 8,400, starts 8th. He has the 7th best average finish at Dover, 4th best at short tracks, 6th best at steep tracks, 10th best average position at Dover, 6th best at short tracks, 5th best at steep tracks. So he's going to have a good run. He just doesn't start far enough back where I really want to get to him. I don't think he's as much of a threat to lead laps. I mean, only 38 in the last 5 races, but he does have an average finish of 6.5 and average position of 9.6. So he has been running well, just good finishes, but I just don't see the upside really hitting for him. I mean, yeah, I guess he can get up front and lead laps, but I just don't think that happens in this race. Tyler Ingram starts 6th. He has 7th best average finish at Dover, the 18th best at short tracks. That's not good. And the 17th best at steep tracks. 7th best average position at Dover, 14th at short tracks, 13th at steep tracks. 0 laps led, though, at all of them. That's just not, I mean, starting too high is just not something I want to get to. An average finish of 13.5 in the last 5, an average position of 11.5. He just starts too high for me. He starts 6th. He'll probably have a good top 10 run, but I just don't want to pay $8,200 for that. Derek Krauss, though, 8,000 starting 16th, I think is a solid option. He has the 6th best average finish at Dover, the 11th best at short tracks, 21st best at steep tracks, 12th best average position at Dover, 16th at short tracks, 19th at steep tracks. When we go to the last 5 races for Derek Krauss, he has an average finish of 7.8 and an average position of 10.8. So I think Derek Krauss does have some upside. I think he's someone that we can get to on today's slate. Someone who's going to be a little bit lower owned, I think, does have some upside. Like, I would just rather play Krauss and like Anchorman, Finger, Smith, and then Jordan Anderson too. So Anderson starts 25th. He just hasn't been good this year. In the last 5 races, Jordan Anderson has an average finish of 24.25, an average position of 25. He just hasn't had a good year. Truck's not really that fast. He's way too expensive. I don't want to pay for that. Ty Majeski starts, that's Tanner Gray. Tanner Gray starts 12th. In the last 5 races, Tanner Gray's been running pretty well. He's actually like a lot better than I thought he was going to be coming into the season. An average finish of 8.5 in the last 5 races, average position of 12.75, and I believe he had a 3rd place finish at Michigan. So he's been running pretty well. Starting 12th is a little bit risky at 7,700 for me, but I do think that he's still a good, solid option. I think he could get up inside he'll get up inside the top 10 more than likely, but maybe inside the top 5, and maybe gets a win. I mean, he's actually been running pretty well. Like, I wouldn't be that shocked to see Tanner Gray win a race this year. So yeah, I think he's a solid option. Ty Majeski starts 21st. He has 9th best average finish at short tracks, 15th best at steep tracks, 15th best average position at short tracks, 15th best at steep tracks. He's run pretty well at these types of racetracks, starting 21st. In the last 5 races, he's been okay. Average finish at 18th, average position at 17. We know he can run better than that. So I think he's an interesting play to get to. I'd rather play him than Spencer Davis probably. So yeah, I think Majeski is interesting, starting 21st. Spencer Davis in the last 5 races has an average finish of 19.5 and average position of 22. I'd just rather play Ty Majeski for $100 more. I don't feel the need to get Spencer Davis. Majeski's in a better truck. He has more upside, so I'd rather just get there. Rafael Asar at 7,300 is starting 5th. Rafael Asar has actually started to run pretty well in the last 2 weeks, especially. In the last 5 races, an average finish of 11.8 and average position of 13.6, but he just starts too high. I just don't see the upside for him to really get out front and lead laps. I expect him to finish somewhere between 5 and 10. So I just don't think Rafael Asar is really the way to go. We never play Clay Greenfield, as you should know by now, so don't ever get to him. Austin Wayne Stealth starts 14th at 7,100. Maybe not someone I really want to get to. In the last 5 races, Austin Wayne Stealth has an average finish of 16 and average position of 19.4, so not something I really am too excited to get to. Bailey Curry starts 28th. He's just not in a good truck. Never a guy that we really want to play on the slate. Tate Fogelman is 6,700, and he starts 18th. In the last 5 races, Tate Fogelman has an average finish of 18.25 and an average position of 22.6. It's not like earlier in the year when Tate Fogelman would be priced in the 5Ks or maybe even the 4Ks when I'd be actually interested to get to him. So I'm really not too excited to get to Tate Fogelman today. I don't think he's a terrible option. I just think he's a little too expensive. Dawson Cram starts 36th. I don't think this one's that bad. Average finish is 17.5 at the short tracks. Steep tracks haven't been good. In the last 5 races, he has an average finish of 22.33 and an average position of 27.33. And starting 36, I don't think that's bad for 6,500. Maybe not my favorite play, but I think he's solid. I don't hate going there. Timmy Hill is 6,400 and he starts 30th. We get Timmy Hill and Tyler Hill this week. That's fun. You don't usually get that. He starts 30th. He has the 14th best average finish at short tracks in the truck series and 24th at steep. He's run pretty well at these type of racetracks. He has an average finish of 18.5 in the last 5 and average position of 19.5 in the last 5. I know Dawson Cram starts 6 spots back, but I think Timmy Hill has better potential to finish higher. So I think both of them are pretty solid options here. I don't think you can go wrong with either one. I'm sure Hill will be a little bit lesser owned because he just starts 6 spots up, but I think he has just as much, if not more, upside in Timmy Hill. We never play Norm Benning. Tyler Hill starts 34th. He has the 14th best average finish at Dover, 25th at short, and 25th at steep tracks. In the last 5 races, Tyler Hill has an average finish of 22.33 and an average position of 24.33. So he's been running pretty solid as well. I think he's just as good option as all those other 2 I just named. I think Tyler Hill, Timmy Hill, and Dawson Cram are all interesting. Wouldn't that be something if Tyler Hill and Timmy Hill were in a winning lineup this week? But yeah, I think all 3 of those guys are good options. Avoid Norm Benning at all costs. Spencer Boyd starts too high. Now Sam Meyer is he's going to be the chalk today on this slate. Shouldn't be 5,600. I know he's an inexperienced driver and he's an ARCA driver right now, but he's in a GMS truck, which is one of the better. It's the second best team behind KBM in this field. So yeah, he starts 26 in he's in the 24 truck that Chase Elliott's been driving this year. So yeah, I just don't know why he's 5,600. This is the biggest lock on the slate to me. If he wrecks, he wrecks, but he should be able to at least get a top 15 on that, maybe even a top 10. He's a good driver, a good up-and-coming driver in the ARCA series, so he'll be probably in full-time trucks either next year or year after. So in that 24 truck, I want to get there. JJ Haley, I was interested in him, but he's driving for Rick Ware Racing. I guess he's had some upside starting 31st, but that truck's just not that fast. Jennifer Joe Cobb, we never played Jennifer Joe Cobb. Carson Hocevar starts too high, and he's never raced an oval, so that'll be fun. Brian Dozit. Actually, I think Brian Dozit withdrew from the race, so I don't even think he counts anymore. Brian Barnhill starts 32nd. I never play him, and Tim Vaines, we never play those guys. They just don't ever run well. They're in terrible trucks. They're not going to run well. But yeah, I think that's really all I got to say in this video. We got a good Truck Series race this week. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Make sure to check out the Patreon if you guys are interested in that. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, turn the notification bell. All those things really help me out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you guys have fun watching this race, and maybe we can hit a takedown this weekend.